Hey guys, welcome back to my small engine repair channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to replace the shear pins on your older Toro snowblower. And here's the snowblower. It's an older Toro PowerShift 1028, and the reason why I'm showing you this today is because a lot of people ask me, how do I replace the shear bolts on my Toro with this style of auger? As you can see here, it's quite different from other snowblowers. It's almost like a drum that goes over the shaft. Unlike this snowblower, it's very easy to see the shear pins and get them right off the shaft. But don't worry, it's very easy to replace the shear pins on this snowblower. All you're going to need today are 2 ratchets with a 1/2-inch socket. For safety reasons, when replacing shear pins, always disconnect the spark plug just to make sure that the engine will not start by accident. The reason I do that is because sometimes I end up turning the impeller with my hands to line up the shear pin holes on the augers. And you wouldn't want to inadvertently start up the engine. First of all, I'm going to show you how to access the shear pins. You access them through these holes here on the augers. Now if you look inside the holes, you can see the pin, and I'm going to zoom right in on it. Now what I've shown you down here is that the pin is facing downwards, and at the top through this hole is where the nut is for the pin. Now I've noticed that with the auger positioned this way, it's easier to get the pin out. Now if it's facing this way, where this hole is, you may have to turn the impeller to make the augers turn to line it up where you want. In that case, you would have to turn the impeller either clockwise or counterclockwise. I'm going to turn it clockwise, and you can see that the augers are moving, so definitely the pin will be changing its location, either vertically or horizontally. Again, I find that if the pin is vertical, it's easier to get it off. Also, you'd want to make sure that this is not in the way, so if it's in the way, make another revolution. Now once I've got it vertical, I'm going to go in with my ratchet and my 1/2-inch socket, and you want to make sure you've got it on the pin securely. Now I'm going to go underneath with my other ratchet and 1/2-inch socket. Now at this point here, the nut is at the bottom, but that's okay. And I'm just going to proceed to remove it. And I'll just take off the nut with my fingers here and just retrieve it. Now when you remove the pin, you want to make sure you retrieve the little collar here as well. That's what you heard falling earlier. It goes right here. Now I've written out the part numbers here in case you do need to replace your shear pins. The bolt here, which is the shear pin bolt, is part number 322-12. The small spacer I showed you is part number 25-5090, and the lock nut, which is just basically a nylon lock nut that is 5/16 in diameter, is part number 3296-29. Before I reinstall the shear pin, I'm just going to tell you a few reasons why you may need to replace them. The first reason is that they've sheared right off and your auger does not turn. The second reason is that it's all bent. Sometimes they do bend after hitting something but don't snap. If your shear bolt is broken, your auger is just going to turn like this. Just freely like that on the shaft. And you can see here I've got the pin. It's going to turn a little bit like this, but it's not going to do a full revolution. Now when it comes to reinstalling your new shear pin, it's very important you put the collar in like this on the pin. Now if you look inside where the pin goes, you can see that the hole is quite big there, and that's for the collar to fit in. And what I need to do now is line it up with the hole on the shaft, which was approximately over here. Now I'm going to turn the auger to line up the holes on the shaft with the holes inside the auger, which I had it approximately here. Now I will use a screwdriver just to line it up. And now I know it's right here, because sometimes it can be hard to line up the holes. So I'm just going to leave it like this. Now I'm going to install the pin in this position, and again make sure that the larger hole from the auger is where the collar will fit in. And now I'm just going to proceed to put that in there. Sometimes you can wiggle the auger a bit, it will help the bolt to go down. And as you can see, the other side of the pin is down where it should be. Now what I'm going to do is grab my ratchet, put it on top of the bolt over here. Now if you find it hard to attach the nut with your bare hands, what you can do is grab a short 1/2-inch socket, insert the nut into it like this, then grab the extension you were using previously, and while still having your wrench up here, reach down inside with this extension. It's going to be a lot easier than with your fingers, and just start it up by hand like this. Now get it started with your hands. Now, one very important crucial tip is do not tighten the bolts fully. You want to leave about 1/8 of play on the shear pin and the shaft. The reason for that is because if you over tighten the shear bolt, it may not break if you hit something, and then you may end up breaking more expensive parts on your blower. That's the reason there's a lock nut on the shear pin, so that it won't come off. And here's the pin inside the hole. You can see the nut over here where my screwdriver is. That bolt is not fully tightened, as you can see. Again, that's why the lock nut is there. And that's how you want it on. Again, the collar is on the other side of the bolt, which is where the bigger hole on the auger shaft is. And once you've got your pin in, you're going to see that the auger will be nice and tight like this. Again, this little play here is quite normal. And it is a bit more difficult replacing the pins on this blower than it is on the other blower that I showed you previously, which was this one over here. As you can see, the bolts are much more accessible. And once you're done, make sure to reconnect your spark plug. So that's all there is to replacing the shear pins on your older Toro snowblower. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe. You can also follow me on Facebook and Google+. The links are underneath today's video. And have yourselves a great day.